Okay, I'll call this meeting to order again at 6:44. Okay, item number 2.1, review, discussion of update to the T. Okay.
Ms. Eva, we have a public comment regarding this committee.
Oh, okay. Is it Mr. Torres?
Yes, I'll read the statement.
Okay.
Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the public comment has been submitted by Miss Mary Maney. She's a teacher at San Benito High School, and it pertains to item 2.4, EIC local.
Yeah.
And it is as follows. As a teacher at the high school level, I am glad that this policy is being addressed. I hope it is being addressed with regard to the following situation. We have quite a few students who take AP classes to get the higher basis for ranking, but they fail to take the AP exam for the course. It is not fair to the other students who are doing all the work and taking all the tests in a regular class to be based on 4.0, while students taking AP classes and not doing as well are being based on a 6.0, regardless of whether they take the AP exam at the end of the course or school year when it is offered and the school has paid for. If a student is not going to take the AP exam, which has possible college credit depending on the school and grade on the exam, then that student should be ranked on a 4.0 scale. And that concludes Ms. Maney's public comment. And that concludes the public comment for this committee meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Torres.
Yes, ma'am.
Shall I continue? Okay. Okay, let's go to agenda item 2.1. Review, discussion, update to the T-test appraisal list for the 2021 school year.
I think Dr. Cruz has
Dr. Carmen?
Yes, ma'am. I think Dr. Cruz has joined us.
Dr. Cruz, okay.
Good evening.
Hi
Good
there.
evening.
Yes, 2.1, we are requesting approval of our T-test appraisal list for the 2021 school year. This is an updated list that will continue updating as we receive certifications.
Agenda item.
Agenda item.
Thank you, Ms. Dr.
Of our
Cruz.
T-test appraisal list for the 2021 school year. This is an updated list that will continue updating as we receive certification.
Okay.
Agenda item.
Agenda item.
Agenda item.
Agenda item. I think we're a little bit behind or something, but I'm going to
No,
continue.
it just,
Something's
it
going
just-
on.
no, it's okay. Keep on.
2.2.
Yes, ma'am.
2.2. Review and discussion of the memorandum of understanding between San Benito CISD and the Department of Public Safety of the state of Texas. Dr. Cruz, is that you?
Yes, this is an agreement between our Department of Public Safety and San Benito CISD. We update it
No,
every
it's okay. Keep on.
2.2.
Yes, ma'am.
2.2. Review and discussion of the memorandum of understanding between San Benito CISD and the Department of Public Safety
We
of the state of Texas.
updated. We check. This is going to allow us to check the licenses of our bus drivers every year, as we do so every year. We're also going to verify information relating to anyone that holds a CDL.
Agenda item? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Agenda item.
Okay. Are we having technical difficulty? All right, agenda item 2.3. Everybody with me so far? Review and discussion of employee handbook for the 2021 school year.
Yes, we're requesting approval of the employee handbook. This is a living document that changes throughout the year as changes happen in our district. It's an overview of our practices and procedures and policies that we live by, and we're requesting your approval of that.
Agenda item. Okay. And then the last one, 2.4, review and discussion of consideration of changes to the EIC local to include awarding additional points for the scores of AP tests starting with graduating classes 2023. I got lost. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
There it is.
Yes, keep talking. We can hear you.
Okay, got it. I can see now there's, yeah, there you go.
This is policy
That's for Dr.
EIC.
Cruz.
And if you recall, 2 years ago, the board changed this policy and it took away giving students who took an AP exam and scored a 3, 4, or 5, those extra grade points. And so the discussion is whether or not we want to add that back in. And we could start it as early as with the 9th graders from this past year that will be next. Because there's not been a conflict yet with them taking any AP exams. So it would be as simple as adding that back in. But the impact and what we took out were these points right here. Scoring the AP exam used to be, if you scored a 3, you could get additional 1 point, 4, 1.5, 5, 2.0. The way it stands right now, for this past year's sophomores, and unless we change it for this past year's freshmen, 2 students could take the same AP class, both get an A, and they would get their weighted GPA. If one student, as Ms. Maney pointed out, took the test and scored a 5, right now they would get nothing extra. Student who didn't even test would have the same grade, the same GPA.
That makes sense.
Dr.
Also,
Carmen.
if a student took and got a 5 and a student took and got a 2, if we don't change this back, those 2 would still get the same GPA points if they got the same grade in the class.
Dr. Carmen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about this item. This particular situation, and this is something that we need to really look at and analyze before we make a decision, because what we're doing is, and keep in mind, members of the board, what's happening is that a lot of students are not taking the assessment, and the way that this is laid out, just that they're trying to reward students to take the test because we're not having enough students taking the test. Is that correct, Dr. Carmen?
It's not whether or not there's enough. It's about assigning a GPA value to those students who succeed at a higher level based on the test score.
I agree. Right. So here's the parity on this. We got to look at 2 items here: your AP exam, your AP class, and your dual enrollment class, because this is an item that kind of evolves with both sides. You have on category A, you have an A student taking a dual enrollment class, receives an A, B, C, or D college credit. Okay. You have an AP student taking a class and it's weighted the same. Okay. So if the student takes an advanced placement class and receives a 95 to 100, that student in category 1, they get 6.0.
Okay.
A dual enrollment student also receives 6.0. Okay. Here's the trick. Scroll down to the points. The moment that you begin giving students, oh, you know what? On top of that, take the test, and I'll give you, if you get a 3, I'm going to give you 1 GPA more. If you score a 4, I'll give you 1.50. If you score a 5, you're going to get 2.0. What we're doing is that we're eliminating the entire other population that are taking dual enrollment and saying, you know what? Even though you're taking a rigorous class, You're still receiving college credit, but we're not going to reward you for that. Think about this very clearly. What are we trying to do here? My recommendation is, yes, let's give them a 1.0, 1.50, 2.0, but reduce the category 1, category 2, and category 3 to be less than a dual enrollment class, because the ultimate goal is to receive college credit with the AP exam along with the dual enrollment. We have to begin looking at it from a holistic approach, not one item versus the other. Okay, this is something that we need to really look at. And what I would like to know is how many students were in an advanced placement class last year or the year before? How many of those students are actually scoring a 3, a 4, and a 5? Because that's the important part. A 3 may give you a credit, in one institution, and it may not in another institution. A 4 may also do the same. If you look at it, and I'll share this with you, for example. Let's see, share. Hold on, guys. Can you see can you see my screen?
We're looking at the one
No.
we were just looking
No.
at.
Okay,
So
hold on.
there's nothing else different.
Oh, okay, hold on. Oh, I apparently cannot. Well, let me invite you to look at the Utrgv advanced placement scores and the way it pertains to the way it pertains to them giving you credit for those categories. Yeah, I'm in agreement with Ms. Maney. Yes, this needs to be reevaluated because students are taking these AP classes and receiving the credits. They're getting a 3.0, 4.0. That's why they're ranking so high. Because I'll take an advanced placement class, I don't test, but I still get a ranking. Students in a dual enrollment, they get they take a dual enrollment class and they have to pass in order for them to get a ranking. So do you see there's a difference there that we really need to look at and make sure that we're not watering down one and promoting the other. We're in the business of trying to grasp everybody as a whole, not just one population, but not just another. I think it's important that we need to have a little bit more discussion before it actually goes to the board. And I mean, and Dr. Carmen, I think that your team can actually evaluate it and see the pros and cons on both sides and bring us back with something like something more.
Well, I think in my opinion, I don't know if I'm on there. Thank you so much for your comment, Mr. Mendez. It goes back to 2 years ago, we had the same dialogue. I think there's some concerns here. An AP rigor it's pretty difficult. So one of the reasons why they may not be taking them, or one of the reasons why they may not, take the test is because, who's going to want to take a test or they're going to get additional points for it. So if we're categorizing dual enrollment and AP, I think it's not, I'm not going to say it's fair. I'm just saying we got to give our kids an option and reward them in that manner. So if they're going to be taking an AP and score at, 2, 3, 4, and 5, then they should be rewarded for it. So why should we not reward those students for those games? Because everybody knows that an AP course is extremely difficult. I'm not saying that a dual enrollment credit course is not, but I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
But I'm just telling you from my perspective. Okay, from my perspective, I think we should give this opportunity for the freshmen. We've already given it for we changed it 2 years ago. There's a lot of concerns about it. I think we should go back and change this policy and allow those kids with AP, and push them to take the exam. And if they get rewarded and they pass it, they go on get rewarded for it. But for it to be categorized the same as an AP, and then we're going to start pushing the AP and the dual enrollment, or the dual enrollment and AP the same. Well, everybody's going to go. More people. You're going to have more people in the dual enrollment. But no, there has to be some reward for this AP. I mean, I've done from parents that actually their kids take AP courses, and I'm all for changing this policy. Thank you.
Well, if I may, thank you for that, Mr. Lopez. I think that, and again, I'm not saying that I'm against it. What I'm saying is that I'd like to see a little bit more in-depth review on it and have a better, and have another explanation on the way it's laid out. And the reason that I say this, it's because you said about, you pretty much said it, that it's a difficult course. Any advanced placement is rigorous as well as a dual enrollment class. And if on an advanced placement course, if you want to peel down to the layers of it and the expectations of the students, they're up to par, neck to neck. So here's the other thing, and this is another recommendation that I would suggest, and I think we had that conversation a while back, Dr. Carmen. Why not allow the dual enrollment students to also obtain the AP exam? You know, you want to give them points? To me, I look at it from the perspective is you have a student A. Oh, guess what? If you take this class and you take the test and you get another score, we're gonna reward you for that. You know what? Let's do the same for the dual enrollment students. If you get an A, you get X points. If you get a B, you get X points. If you get a C, you get extra points. If we want to encourage students, let's encourage them on the entire playing field, not just on one side, the entire playing field.
But you know, it's once again, you know, it's the same thing, the same conversation like 2 years ago. It's dual enrollment and AP. You know, you can't categorize them the same. You know,
Why not?
AP is AP.
No, AP does not require that much rigor. A teacher with a bachelor's degree and 2 weeks of training will give you a certification of advanced placement. A dual enrollment instruction requires a master's or a doctorate in the content area to teach that particular class. That's the discussion that we had 2 years ago. Yes, let's look at it and make sure that we are rewarding all students.
Okay, so now we're talking about, here we go back to the whole master's education stuff. Our teachers do a great job. You know, as far as I'm concerned, this policy was set forth, it was brought up again, and I'm for putting it on the agenda to get it approved. Thank you.
Okay, can I, real quick clarification, Mr. Mendez? Are you suggesting they would allow dual credit kids to take an AP exam? So if they take dual credit world history or US history, let's say dual credit US, allow them to take the AP exam? I'm not sure that College Board requires a kid to take the class. I'm not sure they couldn't take the AP exam. Is that what you're recommending?
I mean, why not? If you know, if we're going to go in that particular direction, you know what? If a dual enrollment student is taking the class as well, and they want to challenge the AP exam, why not? Why not? And let's give them the points as well.
Something to think about.
Hey, Dr. Carmen, real quick, let me put my 2 cents. Ms. Cruz, by any chance, have you compared it to other schools? It's a good discussion, and it's all good for the kids. Can we compare it to other schools, see what they're doing? And I'm talking not 1, 2, I'm talking about at least 7 or 8 schools. And let's break it down. And like I said, it's a good discussion. And then we can make a decision, and I like it. Let's see what other schools are doing.
So we did that analysis, I think, 2 years ago.
Okay.
I think we did all of Region 1, if I remember correctly, and it was about 50-50. In addition of tonight's meeting, I did not do that full analysis. I did not ask Dr. Cruz to do that. I simply looked at the districts right around us. It's about 50-50. Some give the extra.
Wow.
Some do not give the extra point. But we can do a full Region 1 evaluation of this policy and let you know how many districts give points for the AP. We can have that very, very easily.
I think it'll be a good idea because it benefits the kids, actually. Us, we're just making a decision. Hopefully we'll make a better decision by analyzing with other schools.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Okay, so I agree with, I mean, you know, I can go either way, but, you know, I think that's the reason why it was brought up, because there was some concerns about it. And I mean, you know, it's like anything else. We can go back and have this conversation again. It's 50-50, but, you know, we're the board members and make the decisions for this school. So the thing is, we've already gone the route where we evaluated the dual enrollment was the same as an AP. And you know what, it's not the same. You know, the parents were concerned about it, you know, and that's the reason why it was brought up. Administrator, the teacher, you know, just spoke about it. It's not, you know, The thing is, we should give the freshmen an opportunity to challenge it, to challenge the AP, and if they get the test, fine. And then, like Mr. Mendez said, if the dual enrollment also is allowed to take the rigor of an AP course and they can take the test, then so be it. But for us as a board to come in here and always change these grading policies, first of all, I don't think it's right for us to be doing so. I think it should be a recommendation by the superintendent. But more importantly, that being said, I think that in AP, if that opportunity is there for them to challenge the test and get extra points, then so be it. Who are we to tell them not to do so? We're not. We're here to promote education for all our kids. So if they want to take dual enrollment, they understand the parameters for dual enrollment. They can take AP, and if they want those extra points in AP, then so be it. But they know that what the goal is at the end. Not for the board to come together here every 2 years and change it because, you want to equate it the same as dual enrollment. I'm not a fan of that component. I'm a fan of rewarding kids. So if this is the structure of AP, if there's a test at the end and they get a certain grade, okay, then you reward them. If dual enrollment was built that way, then dual enrollment would be built that way. But it's not built that way.
Mr. Lopez, there is a final exam.
I recommend we take it to the, then so be it. But I recommend we take it to the board. Thank you.
Okay, I'd say review it a little bit more, and so we can discuss it a little bit further.
Both of you are right. Okay. Agenda item? Can you hear
Agenda
me?
item.
Yes, okay, agenda item. Okie dokie, any committee concerns? Okay, we adjourn at 7:05.